So, the flyweight division, in my opinion, is probably one of the most exciting divisions. And there's been a lot of movement as of recent. There's been some movement. Rankings have been changing. All right, people have been moving up and down. New names are arising. And I think, sorry if you heard that. That was my phone slamming. And I think it's only right that we start predicting some of these future matchups. We got to start looking at the rankings, see what's happening. And so I'm going to be giving my personal thoughts on what the next matchups for every fighter should be. And starting off, we have Pantoja versus Albazi. I know people aren't going to like this. Oh, Albazi got a robbery over Kai France. We all know he got the fucking robbery. We all know it was a robbery. We all know Kai France kicked his shit in. However, he's new blood. It's a title fight that's not Royval. That's not a rematch. It's a new, fresh title fight. Pantoja versus Albazi won the first fight between them. Thank fuck. Because Pantoja's fought everybody. They cucked him from getting a belt for getting a title shot for so long. He fought like literally everybody in the division. Like, imagine if Davison Figueiredo was still here, it'd be fucking cancer. So Albazi is the only top 5 contender that's coming off a win who hasn't fought for the belt yet. Moreno's coming off 2 losses. Royval fought for the title like 4 months ago and got dominated. It's a new blood. It's a good matchup. I'm not going to say it's a fun matchup because it really fucking isn't. But we just need something new. I don't want to see Moreno versus Pantoja 3 and Royval versus Pantoja 3 and Kai France versus Pantoja 2. He's fought literally everybody in division. I don't want to see it right now. Let's give Albazi the title shot and then see how the division moves after that and see who else could be possibly next. Next up, I think Makayev versus Royval. Makayev is undefeated, but he hasn't been the most impressive. Maybe against Royval, this is his impressive performance. It's a big step up from Perez, who was coming off like a 1.5 year layoff, like almost 2 years. Royval's coming off a win over Moreno, so I think a win over Makayev could give a valid argument for him getting a rematch at least. And if Makayev wins, I think it gives him a title shot. Again, new blood of the division. It's a risky match. And it's a bit risky to match them against each other because I think there's a chance that Royval does win, and then there's no new blood. But that's what we need to do. We need to take these risks, give these guys bigger competition, and I think this is a good step forward for the division. Fight 3. This is the fight I really want to see. Listen, I like both of these guys. I like Kai France. Look at this mean mugging motherfucker. This fucking mean mugging Aussie. Look at this fucker. Alright. The fight was already meant to happen. Kai France, he's coming off 2 losses. He's got to fight some competition. I know he got robbed against Albazi. But he's still got to fight someone up and coming. Even if he won, it would still be a rematch. I wouldn't really want to see it. I mean, there's bad blood in this shit. Remember when Manel fucking threw the water bottle? Stand up, motherfucker! Stand up, what you want? And then you went off on Izzy? Imagine if we got them on the same card together. We got to actually see Kai France versus Manel Cape. It's a good fight, there's good build-up. And I know both of these guys have fought Pantoja before. But I think Manel Cape has much more personality than majority of the decision. Majority of the division. Sorry, I'm a little bit acoustic. I can't say words correctly. I think he has a lot more personality than these guys. His style is very exciting. I mean, Pantoja's last fight was a little bit of a bore. He was kind of aggressively laying. I won't even say it. I'll be nice enough to give him the adjective. He was aggressively laying on Royval. And it was a boring fight. I know we all love Pantoja. His fight against Moreno was awesome, but that was a boring fight. Manel Cape, you can't have a boring fight against this fucker. He has fucking awesome. His style is awesome. His fight against Dos Santos was fucking amazing. I know it's not new blood, but it's a good fight, and it could get him into title contention. And if it doesn't, then it gets him a #1 contender fight for sure. And who knows? Maybe we get to see Manel Kape say another slur. That's fucking awesome to think about. Moving on. Moreno versus Nicolau. You guys are probably thinking, who the fuck is Matheus Nicolau? And why the fuck should Brandon Moreno fight him? He got robbed against Royval. I don't think Moreno got robbed against Royval. Royval should have won that fight. He fucking clearly won rounds what? He won rounds 3, 4, and 5. Royval clearly won 3, 4, and 5. But regardless, I think it's a good bounce back fight for Moreno. I mean, Moreno's been in the game a while, so maybe he's losing. Maybe he lost that fire for a bit. Maybe he like, because Moreno fought like he didn't really want to be there, and he kind of looked like tired. He looked like he didn't really train. Maybe this is a fight that'll tell. Maybe that after that fight that tells Moreno, man, I gotta change something up. Maybe this is the camp where he goes extra hard and fucking pushes his way through and gets him back to that title shot. But Nicolau, he's been up there for a while. The guy is actually 8-1 in the UFC. The run that he's been on in the UFC currently is his second run in the UFC. Most people don't know this, but he got cut from the UFC after going 3-1. The guy went 3-1 and still got cut. That's fucking shocking. Charles Johnson goes on a 4-fight loss streak, and then they give him fucking Azet Maxim. But Matheus Nicolau goes 3-1 and he gets cut from the UFC, and then makes a comeback against Manel Kape in Manel Kape's second fight, which Nicolau got by split decision, and he won on like a 5-fight win streak, 5-fight win streak. I think he's like 7-1 or 7-2 or 8-2, because he just recently lost to Royval. But you know, Nicolau hasn't fought Pantoja or Moreno yet. It's not another rematch. It's something new. It's something fresh. I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a good fight. And it could maybe it could really see if Moreno has just lost that fire in him, or if he still got that drive and that passion to be a champion once again. So that would be my matchup. I feel like people are really going to hate me for this and really disagree with this. But I think Steve Erceg versus Tagir Ulanbekov is really fucking good. Now listen, I really don't want these up-and-comers to fight each other, because I really want them to make it to the top and then get the new division. But I think this is like a good exception, because both of these guys are huge fighters. They're both really heavy hitters, big, strong guys that I think both of them could make it to the top. A win for either is really huge. If Erceg wins, he can lay claim to beating this Dagestani monster. I don't care what you say. Beating of Dagestan. Look at Tagir. Not only is he Dagestani, he has a lazy eye. People are gonna go insane if Erceg beats him. They're gonna think he's fucking Jesus. Not actually. Don't get mad at me if you're Christian. But people are gonna go fucking insane if Erceg beats this guy. And if Tagir wins, he could steal all the hype that Erceg has. And even then, I think Erceg could beat a lot of the guys in the division and still make it to the top. I think it'd be a really, really good and interesting fight. And I think whoever loses is still gonna make it to a title shot. Yes, Tagir lost to Tim Elliott, and yes, he lost to Zhalgas Magulov. But who cares? He could still, if he loses this and then he beats one more guy, they're probably giving him a different opponent anyways. They're not gonna give him a Tim Elliott. And Zhalgas Magulov isn't even in the UFC anymore, so he doesn't have to worry about Zamagulov. I think it's a good matchup. Yes, I know Erceg does deserve a big opponent, but he doesn't. He only has 3 wins. Let's build him up some more. Add some more names to his resume. And I think if he wins this, fucking give him that #1 contender shot. give him that number 1 contender shot. And then if he wins that, no matter how he wins that, give him the title shot. But I think it's a good way to get to promote one of these guys and make a really big name out of them. Okay, because Usyk coming off a fucking vicious KO over Schnell. Tagir coming off a good submission over Cody Durden. I think it's just a good matchup to see and really push someone into that much more like well-known status, because you know Usyk after that KO is probably getting a lot of traction, and Tagir just being Dagestani and having that V at the end of his last name. I think it just really, he has the chin beard too. I think it really just, it puts a lot of value behind beating him. And I think it's be a good matchup to make. I know people disagree with me. They're probably thinking, oh, give Usyk Moreno. I think we should give him this fight and then give him not even a fight against Moreno. Give him whoever the number 1 guy is, no matter what. Next, Tatsuro Taira versus Tim Elliott, then versus Alex Perez. I really didn't know what to do with Alex Perez in this list. I had literally everybody else just like set up perfect, and then I noticed, oh fuck, I didn't do anything for Alex Perez. Oh shit. So I'll just do my reasoning for Taira versus Elliott. So Tatsuro Taira is on a 5-fight win streak. He hasn't faced a ranked opponent yet. They're cucking him. They're cucking my glorious king. They're cucking my favorite flyweight prospect. Second, he's him and Joshua Valentine. But they're cucking him, and they're toying with him. They're playing with his emotions. They gave him David Dvorak, and guess what Dvorak did? He fucking pulled out of the fight. Fuck David Dvorak. Little bitch. They're cucking my fucking favorite fight. They're cucking my favorite Japanese fighter. The only Japanese fighter. The best Japanese fighter. Okay? He's on a 5-fight win streak. No ranked opponent yet. Elliott is a good test to see how good someone's grappling is. Elliott was fraud checking the fuck out of Makayev until 3rd round mythical Makayev came in and fucking subbed him and fucking became the GOAT. Alright? Tim Elliott said in his last fight after subbing Sumo Derji, he said he's ready to be a company man. And this is going to be one of his company man moments. Okay? He's going to take this fight against Taira. Okay? He's going to lose. He's going to take a short notice fight against another up-and-comer, probably beat them, get another full camp against another up-and-comer, probably lose. You know, go 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 win, 2 loss, 1 win, 2 loss, 2 wins. Except he's probably not going to have that much time left because he's 37, but he's ready to be a company man. This is going to be one of his company man moments. It gets Taira, an undefeated fighter, a chance to fight his way into the top 10. And it's a great overall litmus test. It'll show how Taira is better than Makayev, because Taira is gonna be able to out-grapple Elliott. And if he doesn't, it shows maybe he's a fraud and maybe I'm wrong to support him. I still love him though. Don't care what you say. And I didn't really know what to do for Perez, so assuming Perez takes a long break, as he's been doing, then I think if Taira if Taira gets faced against Elliott and then wins, and then Perez comes back around that time, then Taira versus Perez will be another matchup, because Perez was fraud checking the fuck out of Makayev's wrestling. Defended 17 out of 20 takedowns. So if Taira can control and out wrestle Perez easier than Makayev did, then that'll really make me happy. I just think both of these guys would be good tests for him next. Doesn't really matter what happens doesn't really matter if it goes Perez then Elliott or Elliott then Perez. Preferably Elliott then Perez. Because, I mean, look at this fucking jacked, ripped physique of Elliott versus the soy, yet Chad physique of Perez. Perez does kind of have a soy physique. I mean, he has like kind of like no chest. Maybe it's just like the lighting and the way he's like positioning himself. Maybe he's like just like pulling his chest back so it just looks like that. And if he hunched over like Elliott, like flexing his chest kind of, then he would look much more ripped. But he doesn't have a lot of abs. Maybe it's just the lighting. They might have fucked up my boy Perez with the lighting. That has nothing to do with the matchup, but you know, Tyra versus Perez, or Tyra versus Elliott, then Tyra versus Perez. If you know either happen, I'd be happy. Next up, we got my boy Matt Danger Schnell versus David, the under deceiver, the under outer, under puller outer, the bitch, David Vorak. I think it's a winnable fight for both. I mean, honestly, in Schnell's fight against Urseg, I thought he displayed really good boxing before he got slept. I thought he was actually doing really well in the striking. I remember he got his head whipped around by a straight right, and then came back and landed like a 4-punch combo that was fucking lightning fast. So I think this is a good winnable fight for both. Both are coming off consecutive losses. It'll really show who deserves to be in the top 15 and who doesn't. And, you know, if Dvorak loses, he gets cut from the UFC or gets forced to fight a dangerous up-and-comer. Because we all know that unless you're Matheus Nicolau, you can go on a 5-fight losing streak and they'll still let you stay. It's a fun fight, and it's a good chance for both to break their losing streak. And it shows which one of Urseg's sons are better. And honestly, let's be fair, Matt Schnell's probably going to win. Look, Matt Schnell, mewing, Chad, baller-ass physique, good haircut, pronounced chest, versus Soy, fucking skinny neck. Look at this. Chest high, shoulders back, loud, proud, hunched over, small chest, little, small lats, hunched in himself, scared. I think it's a fun matchup. The Chad versus the Soy. Cool guy versus loser nerd. And I think the cool guy's gonna win, because not only is he cool, but he's real as fuck. For the final fight that I have matched up in this, I think the number 15 ranked Sumo Derji versus Joshua Van should be what's next for these two. Sumo Derji is coming off back-to-back losses to Tim Elliott and to Matt Schnell. Joshua Van's on a 3-fight win streak with a TK on his last fight. Joshua Van, he's a great young fighter. It's a good thing to get him in the top 15. He's only like 22. He's only like 21, 22. And I think if Van wins this, it gets some really, really fun matchups. It's a good fraud check fight. I think it's a good fraud check fight. It'll really see how Joshua Van deals with someone who has a lot longer range than him, because he faced Felipe Buens, who was rangier, but Sumo Derji, I think, is a lot rangier. I think Sumo Derji probably is going to have like 4 inches of reach on him. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to check up that later. But, you know, he needs to take a fight like this to stay in the top 15. If not, he's going to get booted out anyways. And then they're just going to probably do Joshua Van versus Bruno Silva and then put the winner of that at number 15. This fight is a good fight for Joshua Van. He's on a 3-fight win streak. I think he wins this fight, you do 2 more matchups for him, and then you give him a title shot. You know, like, I'm really thinking too far ahead for Joshua Van right now. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Joshua Van fan. I watched his debut against Zhalgas Magulov on the Taporia versus Emmett card. And I remember where I was. I was on a trip to Galveston, and I tried to get my family to watch the card with me, and nobody would watch it. And anytime they'd be like, they saw one fight, which was boring. It was Dumas versus Brundage on the card. And they were like, this is boring, fuck you. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. It's a good fight to make. Sumo Derji versus Joshua Van. If Sumo Derji doesn't take it, he gets booted out the top 15 to put Joshua Van against whoever takes his spot anyways. And if he does take the fight, it's a good litmus test. You know, it could be a good fraud check test. Let's be fair, we all think Joshua Van's gonna win, but it'd be a good test regardless, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And here are just the current rankings that I was looking at by the time of recording this. I had this literally pulled up like 3 seconds ago. To, you know, Roy Val number 1, and here it is. Here's what happened, how it moved. This is after Rosenstrike versus Gadzhiev fight night, so that's why there's so much movement. And tell me what matchups you would have made, and please don't bully me. I'll come. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks. See ya.